Today's conversation is on sex transmutation, inspired by the sex transmutation chapter from Think and Grow Rich. I'm actually in California this week doing a meetup with members of my new school community in the area. If you're interested in that, I'll link in the description to it. So, on the way to Venice Beach with Danielle Lynn, and you may know Danielle from a number of conversations we had on this channel and her YouTube channel, which I'll link to in the description. On the way, we discussed sexual transmutation, personal magnetism, and being as you are, and how they relate harmoniously together to create whatever kind of life you want. Your style, which happens to be the best style. Your style is the best style. So I trust you'll enjoy today's conversation, which was recorded on the drive. And then later on, I took some notes and created a mind map. And if you'd like that, I'll link in the description to it as well. Enjoy. Patricia, who's a member of Flow-Based Prosperity.
Yes.
She made me this little fragrance,
Oh, that's
fragrance
fun.
bottle.
Yes.
I did an in-person session with her. It's called Magneticus AF. She made it for
so
me.
good.
And I was saying on Flow-Based Prosperity that magnetism and all these accessories are the natural result of being.
Ooh, I love that.
Magnetism, personal magnetism, is the fragrance of being.
Yes.
And all these things that appear to be added on through a magnetic way are the accessories of being. So by that it is meant that she made for me this fragrance called Magneticus AF
Yes.
as a fragrance that I wear. Naturally, it was added on to me through the magnetic energy. So it compelled, you could say it this way, it compelled her to make it for me.
Oh, I love that.
You get what I'm saying?
I do.
It's the accessories get developed and they get placed on you. So the actual fragrance get placed on you. So
oh, that's fun.
when we were growing up, we used to say it this way. Is he wearing those clothes or are the clothes wearing him? So personal magnetism naturally results in what you wear. And the attire looks, we could say, very magnetic, or it's perfectly accessorized or perfectly put together
Yes.
for the individual, perhaps by the individual. The individual may or may not do it. They may have a stylist that does it or a friend that does it for them or something like that. But that's just a story of how it plays out, which is a wonderful story. Yet all those things are naturally added onto them by being as they are, which the natural fragrance is personal magnetism appearing to animate all these things magnetically. How do you relate?
Ideally. How do I? It's one of my favorite one of my favorite things to say when you ask how do I relate.
And the way you said it too. The
Yes.
way you said it.
Well, I also did a mudra. Ideally.
How you went about saying it.
Yes.
The way you said it. All these things.
All these things. They're
all these things added
onto you.
You know. You know the way.
Well, I love that. You know, in that way you could say being magnetic AF, magnetized to you being magnetic AF. It's the amplification effect, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, you are already this, it's added onto you, but you know, how could it be any other way? You are this, and therefore more appears to confirm that you are this and to amplify this because you are that.
Yes. The rose, for example, naturally emanates the fragrance without trying.
Yes, it just is.
It doesn't try to smell good.
No, it just is. It just does. Yes, I relate to that. And that's, you know, what I often mean to myself when I speak about embodiment. You know, sometimes I imagine some people might view embodiment as something that you must cultivate or figure out or be. The funny thing is whatever we are not is what is cultivated, because that is the effort. Whatever we are not is what is actually being efforted and cultivated. And so I find more than anything else, it's actually, I was going to say, is it a decultivation, but it's actually a shedding of appearances, as you use it, a shedding of identification, and it's a reorienting to the natural state. Now, you can enhance the natural state. It's not to say, oh, I can never develop a skill or I can never do anything. But the thing is at this point, it's not a force, it's not an effort. It's just the way I am being. The way I am being is I am learning, I am amplifying the skill, I'm sculpting my body in the gym, I'm doing this. Whatever it is that I'm doing is just what I'm doing because it's who I am and it's how I am being.
Yeah.
You see, but there's no effort. It's, oh, I'm this weight, I am this weight. Yes, that's how I'm being. And it's no longer, I must be this in order to prove I am that. I am this, I am that, and I am as I am. And therefore the yes and principle can take and can be into effect today. I often relate it this way. Today, running a business, maybe tomorrow I will do something completely different. Maybe tomorrow I'll do something completely different. The possibility is there. And I could also choose to continue on the path that I am. It does not make me more or less than what I am. I am discovering it and uncovering it as I live it.
That is the way. I like how you said the principle, yes, and that is all these things added in perfect harmony.
Yes.
The principal cause and substance of the phenomena of life is perfect as it is. So it appears as yes and all these things added onto you.
Yes.
The individual may start to notice, as I have, they spontaneously yes and. They may say yes and. They may not say yes and. That is the fragrance of being, yes and. The personal magnetism, the charisma, the confidence.
Yes.
From the principal cause.
Oh, yes.
The principle, yes and.
Yes, indeed. Well, I like that. I'm actually marinating that. I'm marinating the principle.
The principle,
Yes,
yes and.
So we're going to Venice Beach today. You said that you've had a lot of wonderful conversations in Venice Beach.
Yes, absolutely.
Do any stand out to you?
Yeah, one of my friends, Justin, actually, he and I met in Toronto back in the days. He ended up becoming quite successful, millionaire status, doing what we love to do. He does what he loves to do.
Yes.
And the conversation that we had in there was the conversation we're having right now. Everything just is.
Yes.
Same as Justin, too. Interesting,
Yeah,
right?
that is very
Everything just
interesting.
is. So what I found is the conversations that I had in Venice Beach at that particular time were everything just is conversations. This is the way that it is. Now, a celebration of it. Spontaneity, creativity started to emerge more so from the realization.
Yes.
That's what I noticed.
Yes.
And it was a lot of fun too. I mean, there's all this artwork and synchronicity started to appear. We would see numbers everywhere that were related to what we're talking about. Even
Oh,
the
that's
words
fun.
would start to appear. And the way I describe it is quite trippy, actually, because colors started to seem more vibrant. People seemed more animated. It felt like I entered a different world, a different portal. And then as we were having these conversations, we were going into different worlds together. As we were talking about something, an idea would emerge out of nowhere, and then we would entertain that idea and we would just be in a different world.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So yeah, we were actually going into different worlds quite rapidly in that moment. That's why I call it very trippy. We're literally tripping.
Tripping into realities.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually how easy it can be. Some people say you can just enter a doorway and there you are in a new reality. Some people say you blink, there you are. Some people just say be as you are, and there you are in each
Yeah.
moment, new reality.
Oh yeah, it just appears that way
Yes.
in perfect harmony. All these experiences, like a buffet, yeah,
Oh yeah,
or
it's all there.
a fine dining experience where they bring you appetizer and then main course, dessert, etc., etc. Except it's just never ending.
Oh yeah, I experienced that.
Or we could also say like going to Cirque du Soleil or musical or something like that,
Oh yes.
where it's this scene and the next scene and they're all cohesively related and there's this experience of, oh, this next thing. And then there's another thing that seems to top it off. It's like the next thing, the next thing. This never ends though. This never ends.
So true.
This year now never ends.
The endless Cirque du Soleil. It's a great synchronicity because one time I was at one of these business retreat type of experiences many years back. And one of the exercises they had there was, envision what you really want to create. Like if you had all the money, all the resource, maybe you were,
Yeah.
whatever the business or experience you want to cultivate is, considering the lifestyle. And I thought to myself, oh, I want to create an experience that is like Cirque du Soleil.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that is it.
that is like this. And but I even imagined, because the troops, that perform, they often travel together. There's camaraderie.
Yeah.
They're co-creating an experience together,
Yes.
bringing forward their genius, bringing forward their different skills, and then together they create this ensemble. They create this experience. And I was thinking, man, the different versions of that. Like even if you were to pretend something mundane, oh, okay, I'm gonna, do a landscaping business. Well, what's my Cirque du Soleil
Oh yeah.
landscaping business? And all of us are coming together with our skills and our genius and
Yeah.
our wildness, and this is something that I've contemplated more and more because I think, there can be this tendency to think of business or creations, just from the place of what you think you have to do or what you've seen others do. But there are pathways to creating not only exceptional businesses, but exceptional lives that
Absolutely.
your way. You say this too, you do it your way. And sometimes you might pull from current inspiration, but some things might come from a new source of inspiration. How do you relate to that, Joseph?
Wonderfully. You know, I've been saying this a lot in my videos. I've been starting to say it when we started with that document, the resourcefulness document
Oh, that's a great
on
document.
flow-based prosperity. So essentially the document is about bringing awareness to the fact that you have access to everything right now.
Right.
And the way I categorize it in entrepreneurship is physical assets, digital assets, intangible assets, and relationships.
Yes.
So physical assets, real estate, car, anything that's physical.
Right.
Intangible, knowledge, wisdom, expertise, stories, life experiences, formulas. Digital assets, videos, blogs, ebooks, etc. Whatever it is that you've created, digital, photos. All these things can be combined in creative ways. And a person may think, well, how do you combine them in creative ways? Well, and also relationships, right? Different kinds of relationships, client relationships, vendor relationships. It just naturally emerges that way as a perfect play. So this is the perfect play. This is the perfect play. Now is the perfect play. When you know that now everything plays out perfectly, all these things naturally emerge to be in perfect harmony.
Yes.
You spontaneously do it. So you don't need to try to figure out how to combine the physical assets, digital assets, intangible assets, and the relationships. It just spontaneously happens in flow. It just naturally happens. You're aware that it is happening now. So what that does is it releases the condition that suggests I need to figure out how to do it. That condition can be dissolved.
Oh, yes.
And once that condition is dissolved, you do see that everything appears to be in harmony in the perfect play, like Cirque du Soleil.
Yes.
It is like that.
It is. Oh, and I love how you spoke about dissolving the how. Something that's been coming up more and more, and I talk about this, is the heart, gut, mind coherence, right? And I have found that these are three of our key wisdom and knowledge centers, right? And many times we're very familiar with the head one. We're often familiar with the head, the thought, the mind, and it's a wonderful tool, has a wonderful place. But where it can lend to some confusion for people is when they assume that is the only source of receiving insight,
Yeah.
wisdom, being, and this is where I often find that the question of how will come from, because the mind is a processing tool. It's a logic tool. It's a processing tool. It's a planning tool. So it has a wonderful function, but it is not meant to do all the jobs, so to speak.
Yep.
And so what I usually say to people is when the how comes up, just a signal. It's not a signal that you have to figure it out. It's actually a signal to invite the energetic focus to actually descend further into the body where the heart and the gut are, because they are the ones that actually have the wordless information. And I call it the wordless information because even when you drop the energy there, some people think, oh, okay, I'll drop the energy there and then my mind will tell me how. No, you release the attachment to that even having to appear, because there's an even more energy effective way of, it would be kind of like the difference of someone going, well, how do I walk there? What's the navigation? And I'm saying, well, how about step on the teleporter pad? Here you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have to, how do I get there? Does that matter? You're on the teleport pad. Here you are.
Yeah.
And there's a complete difference in the perception field between then attempting to navigate oneself linearly to what we could perceive as instantaneous, orientation or transportation. And I say to people like, well, what's the practical way? How does that play out? You're energetically oriented to the embodiment of being the outcome. So all the information and guidance you are receiving is coming from the knowing that you are there. And so therefore you are living in inevitability. How do you perceive this?
Like I said, everything naturally and poetically, we can say, the play arises from the heart of awareness. So the heart center for the individual is where life springs from. It's where the source of life abides. And it is the entry point, you can say it that way, into the heart of awareness. From the point of view of the heart of awareness, all is in perfect harmony. And the individual and the mind might not know how. That's okay. The heart knows the way. And so it spontaneously arises, naturally arises without interference. The interference patterns are in mind. So we release the interference patterns, which are the conditions. It needs to be this way or that way. The answer is it depends. It may be this way, it may be that way, it may be another way. So I say that to myself if, let's say, I was stuck in my head. It may be this way, it may be that way, it may be another way. I trust that the best way emerges, which happens to be in harmony with all. It is that way. So we can call it sophisticated or complex it is, that it would actually be in harmony with all, that I can have a conversation of how it can look like, and I do.
Yes.
Converse about parts of it. Like, for example, if I say, okay, physical assets, digital assets, intangible assets, and relationships appear to be in harmony. They reconcile, they combine in creative ways to generate more visitors to your offers, bring in more leads, bring in more clients, bring in ongoing business with existing clients. What that does is it eases any kind of questions in the mind of, how it could be.
Yes.
Yet
enough, it eases the mind so that all these things can, without interference, arise from the heart of awareness, and they'll experience it. And then when they experience it, what I also teach is I don't form an identity around how it played out or the appearances. It played out as it played out. We might see some common patterns, but those patterns that we see are not the only ways. There are infinity ways.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
So, in essence, the key is to have no mind infused with limitation, or we can say it this way, mindless. Right?
Yes.
How do you relate to that? Mindlessness.
I don't mind it.
Oh, I know you don't mind. You are completely mindless. You have lost your mind.
Lost or just intentionally allowed it to be as it is. Which
Yeah, it is
not.
It's as it is. It does not interfere with you anymore. You know that.
Yes.
It doesn't bother you. In other words, you don't have if we say mindlessness,
Yes.
I trust everyone acknowledges it's perfect coherence, actually. Mind does
Indeed.
what mind does. Body does what body does
Yes.
from the heart of awareness. And
Yes.
spontaneously are playing out the theaters as part of the play. Instruments of divine. That's another way of saying it.
Oh,
So
I
there's
like
no
that.
problem with mind. There's no problem with body.
I like that.
Body does what body
Oh.
does in perfect harmony. Mind does what mind does in perfect harmony. Perfect example would be, let's say we sit down and we have a conversation with someone, and they'll say, let's brainstorm some ideas. You know, they might say
Yes.
it that way. And you do it. And you have fun doing it, but it doesn't feel stressful. So like an
Oh,
exploratory
exactly.
conversation, you know?
Exactly.
It stimulates ideas, again, from the heart of awareness. And also, as you had mentioned, they may have been convergent ideas. So divergent and convergent. Divergent, many different possibilities. Convergent, here are some things that we have done that have been helpful or that have worked. So an idea may emerge that was one based on experience, which is perfectly fine. Or an idea may emerge that is not based on personal experience, which is perfectly fine.
Yes.
What emerges is what emerges. That is the way.
Well said.
Thank you. I know you're not stroking my ego because you wouldn't do a thing like that.
I wouldn't
No.
think of it. I have no mind about it.
Exactly.
Oh, this is great. Thank
So we're,
you.
in essence, agreeing upon the way it is, truthfully, abiding in truth.
How do you perceive truth? What would you, if someone was to ask you, what is truth, Joseph? What would you say?
I am that pure awareness is undeniable. Everyone knows that they are that pure awareness. And you experience that pure awareness in consciousness. That pure awareness is experienced in consciousness as pure perfection or bliss. That is the pure ocean of bliss, which is prior to any conditions. It's always beyond, let's call it half-truths, conditional
Yes.
truth,
Yes, yes.
which is based on condition. It's not the sure foundation. We can say it's built on a faulty foundation, as in, if I share with you one of these half-truths, you could, if you'd like to, argue the point or discuss the point. And then I might say, oh yeah, in that particular situation, that is not true. It is true in this situation, but in that situation, it is not true. So it's not absolute truth.
Yes.
You are the absolute truth. How about that?
I love that. thank you for describing this. I follow. The way that I've often described it, whether it's like how do you define love, how do you define truth, I actually find that it is a vibrational coherence pattern. And it's funny because it's like I tend to say it leans as close to truth as I can calculate it. It tends to lean towards an intersection with mathematical. I say intersection with mathematical because there's another element that is involved in it, because it is not only mathematical. It is a yes and, but there's
Principle,
a
yes, and?
yes. But there's a coherence. There's a coherence across the math and the I almost want to say the organic. And it's something that people noticed, when they talked about the Fibonacci sequence, and they noticed it happen in the seashells. They noticed it happen in the ferns. They noticed it happen in multiple places. This is what I might point to a resonance of truth, because it is a fractalized expression. It does not insist upon itself. It's even beyond concept, although people might attempt to conceptualize it. It's is.
Yeah.
And that's what I hear you say.
Yeah, we find out what is. That is truth.
Yes.
And you live as is.
It is. And this is also something I say to people, when there's I find similar to you, I don't find that I tend towards debate or discussion, because to me things are as they are. They don't require me to prove them or disprove them, in the sense of, unless, I'll say it this way. I can see how people would have fun in the game of proving or disproving. And so no shame or blame. I can see how it could be a fun adventure. As far as championing the truth itself, I have no call, no purpose, no thought about doing so, because the truth is. It doesn't require me to prove it or defend it. It simply is as it is. It just is. And so, for I say to people, even when, maybe they have a question, a query, whatever it is, it really just continues to be an invitation for them to directly experience the truth for themselves.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, I'm like, if you find something new, share with me, please. I'm up for it. I love discovering new uncoveries, so to speak.
This is why I love entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is an articulation of truth. Art is an articulation of truth.
Ooh, that's fun. Ooh.
Snowboarding to me is an articulation of truth.
Ooh.
It's a creative expression of truth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see that.
What I found through entrepreneurship, when I had my IT business, they were experiencing the service that was being provided. They were also experiencing the truth with the service being provided. They would report it. They would come to the realization through the service. Even if we weren't talking about it in a way that we're talking about right now.
Yes.
We were talking about it in the way that we're talking about it right now through the service.
Oh, yes.
Because the truth just is.
Oh, that's great.
And why this is helpful for the entrepreneur is that is also what the clients are paying for. They desire to have a life that is an experience of truth, fully embodied, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, as one now through this experience. It plays out this way, and everyone benefits greatly. The entrepreneur benefits greatly. They get to do what they love to do. They receive a wonderful compensation from the service. The clients benefit greatly. They refer business. Wonderful.
Wow, that is wonderful. It's wonderful. Sometimes I just find myself in appreciation of the share and of the perspective. This is one of those moments.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
I appreciate your shares. But we always have fun conversations like this, exploratory. articulating the truth.
Yes. Well, it's an artistry of sorts. It is.
Yeah, right?
It is. It is.
The art of conversation.
Yeah.
It is literally the art of conversation, because the art just is. So the art appears in conversation, or we can call it artful conversation.
Ooh, we could call it that.
Artfully articulate.
Articulate. Yes, I'm into it. I'm appreciating this person's bejeweled. They have a
Did you
bejeweled
enjoy the
list
video
here.
that I released on my channel?
Well-
The new channel, the entrepreneurial channel, which became the most popular video on the channel on sexual transmutation.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about that, because I am very live with that topic. I'm very alive with that topic. And it's something that seems to be coming up more and more so.
No pun intended.
At least half intended.
These things do happen along the way.
And I find it wonderful because, there's an enormous amount of creativity that is often, we'll say, wrapped up in sexual energies, sexual things like this. And sometimes people have a flow with sexual energy. Sometimes they might temporarily experience not that. And the discussions on sexual transmutation, I feel, are really opening up portals, pathways, and perspectives that assist people in remembering and recalibrating to their natural sexual and creative flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you relate to that, Joseph?
From personal experience, I've been practicing it since 2004 through Think and Grow Rich. He introduced that concept. And so he would share in the book that you can creatively express sexual energy, and you can also physically express sexual energy. And what I like is that he didn't shame and condemn the physical expression.
Yes.
He was sharing that you can, if you would like to, transmute the sexual energy, a portion of it, or whatever amount you'd like, over to creative expression. And what I found was that although I don't have children, sexual energy can be transmuted into procreation. It can also be transmuted into products, services, art, etc., that tends to have a spirit in it.
Yes.
The business becomes like a child. The art becomes like a child, which has a life of its own. The business markets itself. The art inspires people, draws people together, brings people together, brings out the best in people, you could say, just as a child does. That's what I have noticed. How about you?
Yes, I found that, like you said, the creative sexual energy has a many multifaceted pathway for creative expression. In reality transurfing, it's really interesting. Reality transurfing, Vadim, the author, he talks about things like pendulums or energetic momentum that bring life to creations. And I see, that occurs in part through focus. Well, a lot of sexual transmutation is a combination of focus. It is, a physical focus. It can be emotional. It can be presence-based, and it has a charge. I think like a lightning bolt sometimes. And now I'm thinking of Frankenstein's monster. You know how he brings the lightning bolt, and it brings his creation to life.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
It's
it is like
that, right? But it's like the version of that of summoning creation. Actually, really interestingly, I had heard a sage, like a yogic sage, describe, at the point of like orgasm for the man and the woman, there is like, he described that they're in the astral field. It actually also sends a spark, which if, they were creating like a physical baby, it almost can act like the portal to calling in a particular kind of spark for conception.
Yes.
Which is really interesting to me. So then I started thinking about, wow, every orgasm is a portal.
It is.
And it really is. And it was literally described this way. And it's one of the when people combine it with intentionality, and when you combine it with presence, it can be a very, very potent portal into deliberate guidance of literal life force energy.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. And so it can be really fun,
It's fun too, as well. Yeah.
Oh,
Let's add that there. Well, I did. I had a lot of fun.
hey, on my phone, 11:11.
Oh, nice.
I was gonna say, is it here too? But I saw the portal. It's lining up in time here.
Even when we talk about it,
Yes.
what we do is we recall the experiences, and that results in the opening of the portal, accessing the portal. Proves the point. 11:11.
Yes. Yes, it does. It does. 11:11 is also a wonderful. It's a indication of portal. I like to call it. There's several indications of portals, and one can create their own. I call it their own lexicon. One can create their own communication style with reality. It's one of the things, like, as a side note, when people talk to me about numbers or what numbers mean, I mean, there can be some universally shared indicators for numbers, just as we were talking about the mathematical principle. But you can also create your own meaning. Just as, for example, you have a song you like. Well, maybe the song's the song, but maybe it also has a significance for you, a time in your life, an experience you had with it. Right? These are ways that we cross communicate. So 11:11, one of those cross communications.
Yeah.
And that's what, also creative, the sexual transmutation is a communication between multiple layers of self. Communication, it can be with another, it can be with source, the universe itself.
Yes.
Frequency level communication.
Mm-hmm.
They say all of life is essentially things penetrating and receiving each other. Yin yang. That's
Giving and receiving are one. It's happening all the time.
it
now.
is. All of life is making love.
It just is. Yeah. It just is that way. Well, that's one of the things that I noticed as well while practicing sexual transmutation is making love with the world. You can say it that way.
Yeah.
Or the world appears to dance with you.
Yes.
So what I noticed was it really started to dance with you.
Yes.
Everything appears to dance with you.
Yes.
And so powerful is this kind of energy too, and the transmutation of it. I started to notice while I was practicing it, my clients would bring it up in conversations, even if we would not talk directly about it prior. Or another way of saying it is, let's say if they signed up for IT services, they would start talking about it while I was providing the IT services. They would start talking about their relationships.
Wow.
And they would say things like, hey, something interesting happened to me the other day. I feel like I can talk to you about it. And they would start talking about it. So what would happen was we would have conversations about it and it would be encouraged. One of the things that would happen, which was beneficial for everyone, was the releasing of the shame and condemnation, because they didn't feel comfortable talking about it. As a matter of fact, when I started my YouTube channel in 2013, I was applying Think and Grow Rich, including the sexual transmutation chapter, since 2004.
Yes.
And in the earlier stages of my channel, I felt really uncomfortable talking about sexual transmutation. As a matter of fact, I felt uncomfortable talking about the subconscious mind and infinite intelligence, the sixth sense. But then I said, this is exactly what works.
Yes.
So I started talking about it more so. And then as the conditions fell away, I noticed that I spontaneously, without trying to talk about it, would talk about these things. And I noticed that's with the clients as well.
Yes.
Now, also with the partners that I would practice it with, they too would talk about how these conditions would fall away.
Yes.
Now, as these conditions of shame and condemnation would fall away, they would notice that let's say in their sales presentations or while they're communicating with people, the way they dress, the way they carry themselves, they're allowing themselves to be more of who they are without the shame and condemnation. Also, as we had talked about earlier, the personal magnetism fragrance was more apparent. The
Oh,
charisma
yes.
was more apparent. And through the practice, they accepted who they are more so. They know that sex just is, as we were saying, it's happening all the time. It was pointed to also in the book, The Kabbalion, The Principle of Gender, that it is happening all the time. And as a person sees clearly, we could say that it's happening all the time. You feel when you practice sexual transmutation,
Yes.
it is happening all the time. Body appears to flow, how you communicate, everything appears to flow like a dance. So it's the inner and outer dancing as one.
Oh, I love that.
And
Yes.
it does have a sexual flair to it. And how it looks like may be different for each individual too. Because maybe if a person thinks sexual, they're thinking maybe in the known sexual forms of expression. But their way is the best way. It appears their way.
Yes. Well said. This is also something that's helpful even in like directly enjoying sex, because even in the experience of it, you know, and I'm familiar with this because there was a juncture in my life that I was marketer, and one of the beings that I worked with was actually a coach, an intimacy coach, and something that they taught, you know, and they taught this to men, they taught this to women, but one of the things that they taught was being as you are in order to have wonderful sexual experiences, and actually assisting people in deconditioning.
Can we say come as you are?
We can say it. They teach people to come as you are. And, you know, instead of trying to over conceptualize or force the experience, to actually learn how to both relax, receive, to learn how to give, to learn how to essentially be in flow. And in being in flow, you actually enhance your experience of love making and love receiving, because you're being as you are, and there's less tension. There's less, oh, I gotta achieve this, I gotta do this has to happen. And instead you actually enter a curiosity and discovery mode, which leads to greater pleasure.
Yeah.
And we can actually translate this, you know, across things like creativity, like creating in your business, creating in all kinds of ways, being able to be very present, enjoying the moment, creates for a more enjoyable outcome, rather than I'm searching for the climax. I'm searching, you know, I got to figure it out. I got to make it happen. It has to appear this way.
Yeah.
Release appearances. Be present. Here you come. Here you are.
Now is the best moment.
There it is.
There's no better moment apart from now.
Oh, that's true. That's a bar right there. But it's so true. And it's not, you know, this is not just a thought concept. Like this is as it is.
It is.
Because everything is accessible in the now.
Yeah.
Everything's happening now. You can only come now.
Yes.
That's the only time.
Yeah. And you can always only be coming now.
There it is.
You can forever be coming now.
Yes. There it is. Endless joy.
Yeah, how I used to practice it too, keeping with the theme of your way is the best way. So in my relationships, it was, Napoleon Hill said, okay, there's sexual energy.
Yes.
And then you can transmute it to creative expression. What we used to do was actually stimulate that burning desire.
Yes.
We would do things to increase the burning desire, and it would build up. And some of it would be physically expressed, and some of it would be creatively expressed.
Yes.
So the way I teach it is, so some individuals, they might think that that's very intense, and that's okay. Like, for example, if you use semen retention, which
Yes.
is one of the ways this is practiced. So the man retains the semen, and if you were to say to him, okay, let's build up the desire more, they're going to be like, okay, that's just too much, you know?
Yes.
That's okay, completely fine. Some individuals, maybe they don't have that much of a charge of that sexual energy. They can benefit from having that desire stimulated. It's there. So there are practices, there are ways, and you can have a lot of fun with your partner doing it.
Yes.
Use your imagination. So what ends up happening then is the energy is built up and it is creatively expressed and physically expressed in an ideal ratio. What also I found with that is the relationship was harmonious in the various areas of life, not just in the sexual part. Communication had become more refined.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Spontaneously, you would come up with ideas of things to do, let's say while traveling. That's one of the things I noticed as well. And, you know, when I speak about sexual transmutation or anything pertaining to sexuality, I have found through my experience, it's like with everything in life, highly individualized, and there's a lot of nuance to it. So I can speak from my personal experience. One of the things that I found, and then also I'll speak on behalf of a number of clients and people that I work with in this regard, one of the things that I've found is that they start to appreciate in their partners what their partners are interested in. So let's say a partner is interested in painting,
Yes.
and prior to sexual transmutation, they were not seeing the art or experiencing the art that their partner was.
Yes.
They'll start actually experiencing that. They'll actually start to see it, which then further charges up their partner.
Yes.
And so their partner feels safer. Their partner feels more open. Their
Yes.
partner feels more exploratory, etc.
Oh, yes.
Just go straight.
Actually, you're right.
That's what she said. I think Michael Scott was practicing sexual transmutation with Jan Levinson.
Oh, I think so too.
Absolutely.
I think so too.
Well, you remember Jan Levinson, right?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember her character?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Like after Michael Scott, do you remember her character?
Yes.
Do you remember her before Michael Scott?
Yes.
These kinds of things can happen.
But they can. It's true.
But that's perfectly fine because Jan's just being Jan, right? That is the way.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I do
She
find
certainly was having a wonderful time. Michael Scott was always having a wonderful time.
he did appear to find wonder in his life everywhere he
Yeah.
went. You know, I do find that, you know, you can experience an expansion, a yes and of who you are. I often say it this way: you experience a yes and of who you are, because even when it appears that we're transforming or changing or becoming something new,
Mm.
I've often said, you know, you always are who you are. It's just
Yeah.
the idea pattern story of who you thought you were falling away. But even that, you know, is still within the field of your story, and it just becomes another part of the beautiful tapestry, and you understand yourself to a wider and wider degree, which is really fun. And this
That is
is
the
why
way.
we can be paradoxical in that way, right? I can be both, you know, if I want, I can be very serious, I can be very absurd, very goofy, but
Yeah.
they don't actually cancel each other. They're yes and.
Yeah.
They are all included. It's all inclusive way of being.
That is the real nature of being.
It
You know,
is.
that's why I love the word ananda. Ananda
Love.
can be translated into peace, joy,
Yes.
happiness, bliss, ecstasy, delight, etc., etc. And those could sound like different feelings, yet they're all fragrances of the same essence that spontaneously manifest in different ways,
Yes.
which is completely fine. And I like how you said that too, because we can say it, keeping within the theme of sexual transmutation, becoming more of who we are. We just appear to become more of who we are. We just come more as we are. Come as you are.
Come as you are.
There's a book called Come As You Are.
There is a book called,
Okay, I haven't
I was
read it.
thinking about that a few times. I've read that one. I've also read Existential Kink. It's also about, it's about shame, blame, transmutation through the sexual energy, you see.
Yeah.
Which I think is also a very fascinating way to approach it.
You know, simply put, like once the individual makes peace with their sexuality, their
Yes.
creativity
Yes.
is going to go through the roof. We'll say it that way.
Oh, yes.
We'll blow the roof off.
Yes.
And it makes sense, right? Because
Full bullet.
it's the energy that creates human beings.
Oh, yes, indeed.
So just as it creates human beings, it can create into or transmute it into creative expression. So we never run out of ideas. This is one of the ways I never run out of ideas. I just don't run out of ideas.
Oh, I love that.
Because
Endless ideas.
there's no shame and condemnation, beliefs, or conditioning in mind from the source of creativity, the source of invention, innovation, etc. And you know, Napoleon Hill said it also. He was talking about this in Think and Grow Rich. And speaking about spirit infused in a book, I personally feel that that's why Think and Grow Rich had facilitated so many millionaires and had such a following, you know.
Yes.
There's a spirit to the book.
There is. Well, there very much is. And you find that to certain works, certain modalities.
He put himself into the book.
He came into the book.
Yeah, it did. Definitely. That is the way.
Is also what she said? Oh, so good. So good. You know that they actually say laughter has a similar, there's a similar, I want to say principle or mechanism to laughter as there is to orgasming,
Yeah.
they have said, which is wonderful. You know, there's a similar, there's a similar release. There's the
Yeah.
convulsive contraction, and it's very transmutative.
The losing of control.
Losing of control, release of identification, release of tension.
Yeah.
You know, all these things. It's also the ebb and flow. It's so wonderful because it's very cyclical, right? You build up tension,
Yeah.
and then release and release.
That's why I absolutely love the way that I went about going at it.
Yes.
Is I love building up the desire. Some might not like
Yes.
that. Yet
Right.
once we release the conditioning of shame and condemnation and any kind of distortion
Yes.
based thoughts in relation to desire.
Yes.
Like I always say in my videos, desire points to fulfillment. Desire means having. Desire means being. A person may think desire means suffering. Desire does not mean suffering. It's the wanting, needing, waiting, craving that generates the suffering in the body.
Yes.
But once you know that you are completely fulfilled, or I am completely fulfilled,
Yes.
and then what happens is you can play with this energy and you can continuously build it up, and it does not feel like suffering at all. So that's why the approach that I give, you know, as I mentioned,
Yes.
some individuals might be like, no, okay, I got a lot of sexual energy. I'm looking to perform semen retention or any other kind of form of working with sexual energy. And if I stimulate the desire, that's going to be a lot of suffering.
Yes.
The answer is it depends. For some individuals, that's based on conditioning. But when the conditioning is released, yeah, you can just keep building it up. There's no suffering.
Oh, I love that.
And because the thing is, you're not suppressing or repressing it. You're transmuting it, either through a creative expression or you're physically releasing it. It just flows. And it flows like the flow doesn't get restricted. It's just the conditioning that generates the flow restrictors, as we know. You know, as I always teach, release identification to the flow restrictors. It's not the appearances. It's not the energy. It's how we're relating to the appearances and the energy
Yes, indeed.
And so we can relate harmoniously with the appearances and the energy.
We can.
Yeah.
We can. This is a
It's
principle.
the natural way.
Well, it's
The
also
principle, yes, and.
yes, and that ultimately, everything is, we could say from a certain perspective, everything's working in your favor at the most fundamental mathematical level.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even call this, I would say sometimes people could see this as false positivity, but I don't even mean it that way.
Yeah.
I just mean it the understanding that wherever you are, you can understand by being present in that moment, you are precisely where you need to be for the next most resonant step to emerge and to live it. Then you understand that ultimately there's nothing truly missed out on. There's nothing truly wrong. There's nothing truly, you're never so far from home that you can't simply orient and be there. And so, because it's always now. And so when you understand this, you can actually enjoy your adventures. You can enjoy the perceived mistakes as much as the perceived successes. You can enjoy the whole journey because the whole journey is enjoyable. It just is.
Yes. It is that way. Clarity naturally emerges. Or we could say divine comes through you.
Ha 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 ha. We could say that.
We could say that.
You did say that.
And that's another thing about releasing the shame and condemnation.
Yes.
Is you start to communicate your style, which we can say articulates the point.
Yes, you could. This is beautiful, Joseph. Thank you for the conversation.
So good.
So good.
That was it right there.
And
That hit the
here it
spot.
is.